Giannis Antetokounmpo, owner of the hardest last name to spell in the NBA, shocked the world when he led the Bucks to an NBA title this past season. The two-time MVP proved critics wrong all year, but what about his fellow NBA players? Today, we're taking a look at exactly why NBA players hate playing against Giannis so much. The obvious, he's jacked. When you look at Giannis, especially if you ever have the pleasure of seeing him up close, you realize just how absurd it is that he is even allowed to play in the NBA. The dude is 7 feet tall, with arms and legs that seem to stretch forever, and on top of that, he's jacked too. The guy's size and frame are huge assets to his game and something almost no other player in the league possesses, making him a tough matchup for defenders. Only Kevin Durant seems to even come close when it comes to length, but even he falls short when you consider how strong Giannis is, and he uses that strength to his advantage, bowling over anyone unlucky enough to get in his way. The athleticism. LeBron James once said that every role player in the NBA was once the best player on their team, and that 99% of the world couldn't keep up with the guy warming the bench in the NBA. That's how competitive the league has gotten. Giannis proves that to be true. There are guys that are tall, that are strong, and there are guys that are athletic, but Giannis is perhaps the only guy to be all three right now, and it is the reason that he is knocking on the door to become the face of the league for the foreseeable future. The Greek freak is able to move from half court into a dunk with only a few steps, and his athleticism is maybe even a little underrated by fans. NBA players are haunted by how Giannis is able to cover ground so quickly by using his athleticism, and it was on display for the world to see against the Suns in the NBA Finals, when a series of blocks and quick reaction plays towards the end of the game helped shift the momentum of the entire series and give Milwaukee its first championship since the 70s. The IQ. Giannis may have started playing basketball a little later than some of his peers, but his IQ has quickly evolved to make him a dangerous player in the half-court game, something that has boosted Milwaukee into contender status. In years past, teams were comfortable putting the ball in Giannis's hands and forcing him to make plays to shooters. It was not something he was able to consistently do. This past postseason, however, Giannis demonstrated his innate ability to make the right play almost all the time. Now, I don't think anyone's going to call him the point god like they do with CP3, but when Giannis is at the top of the key these days, he is very much able to pick you apart, even when you play off of him and force him to shoot. Giannis used to settle for shots, players around the league said, but now he's able to force the defense to react to him, instead of the other way around. Not bad for a guy who everyone said relied entirely on his athleticism just a few short years ago. His drive. Now, I don't really mean his ability to drive to the hoop, although we are sure NBA players hate playing against Giannis for that reason too. I mean that Giannis is an extremely driven individual mentally, that he is entirely focused on achieving his goals, something that has helped him elevate his game. Take a look at Giannis compared to Ben Simmons, two players that had a similar issue. Their shooting was holding them back. Giannis responded by overhauling his mechanics and making sure that he had at least a passable shot for when the playoffs started. Meanwhile, Ben is on the trading block for failing to improve past his rookie season almost half a decade ago. His mentality. The NBA is an 82-game grind, and so you can be forgiven for taking a night off every once in a while and not bringing your A game. Giannis, like most superstars, isn't your typical NBA player. Giannis treats every regular game like it's Game 7 of the finals, and if you look at his numbers in his last MVP season, you'll see what I mean. Even though Giannis was barely playing most fourth quarters due to how often the Bucks blew out opponents, he still put up huge numbers in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, basically any stat that you can mention. The Greek freak didn't take a night off and has publicly lambasted load management as against his belief system. While the rest of the league stars seem eager to save themselves for the biggest games, Giannis only knows maximum effort. Now, what a guy. He doesn't shy away from the big moments. Giannis is a pretty low-key guy off the court and isn't the flashiest dresser or looking to do a ton of ads. But on the court, he wants all of the attention in the bigger moments. This wasn't always the case, with some saying that Giannis played too passively at times in some of their disappointing playoff runs, but throughout their title run, Giannis was the guy for Milwaukee and was even willing to take a bullet or two for the team. You see, Giannis' biggest obstacle is that he isn't the best free throw shooter, though he is improving, as these things kinda take time. But he never shies away from drawing contact, even though he knows that if he messes up, people will talk about it. Giannis embraces the challenge, and so if you're a defender, it's hard to rattle the guy into making mistakes, as he has complete confidence in himself. He's not here to make friends. There's a lot of camaraderie in the NBA, and the players are the most part look out for each other, and even the rivalries aren't as full of animosity as they once once were. But Giannis doesn't really care about all that stuff. He works out with Bucks players and his brothers, not with other superstars. He turns down a role in Space Jam 2 because he's not interested in missing practice time. Playing against Antetokounmpo isn't a meetup with a friend, it's a battle, and all pleasantries come after the game, not during it. Giannis has caught flack for this in the past by fans, but NBA players have rushed to his defense. They may hate playing against someone as competitive as Giannis, but they respect his right to beat his own drummer. They just don't have to like it. He makes you look bad. Giannis is a tough opponent to play against, even if you're a superstar, because his combination of offensive brilliance and stingy DPOY level defense is not easy to match up against. He is going to push you to bring it on offense, while simultaneously making you work just to keep up with him when he has the ball as well. On top of that, he's great without the ball and looks for lobs and easy baskets off cuts throughout the game. Most superstars don't even bother guarding him on D because of how much work it is to keep up with him. The guy just seems to have a motor that doesn't give out, and the incredible shape he's in combined with his killer mentality ensure that he'll not slow down at any point during the game. He takes it personally. Remember when we saw Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray trading baskets and 50-point games during the first round 2 years ago? Yeah, Giannis isn't interested in all that. He takes so much pride in his defense as well as guarding the best players in the league, and he takes it personally whenever he gets scored on, and usually immediately responds on the other end of the floor. Giannis takes it as a slight when someone gets the upper hand on him, and so don't expect a pat on the back for scoring on him. Because of this, the intensity levels get very high when players get hot against the Bucks, and his pride on that side of the floor is one of many reasons that the Bucks have had the league's best defense for the past few seasons. His drives, the other kind. This time we are talking about how Giannis drives to the hoop, and it's probably the scariest part of playing against the Bucks. Giannis is very long and possesses a great Euro step that he uses to bounce around defenders looking for a charge. But if your feet aren't set, be prepared to be absolutely walloped as Giannis bulldozes over you, a sight we've seen time and time again in recent years. Giannis's mix of skills and natural ability makes him hard to predict, as he is able to basically cross through the entire paint in 1 or 2 steps. Giannis gets to the line a ton, and when he isn't, it's usually because he's dishing to a wide open shooter in the corner. Players know to beware not just the headache that guarding and driving Giannis entails, but also the bumps and bruises from the physicality he has. And that's it for our video today. It's easy to see why NBA players hate playing against Giannis, and we can't blame them. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and share it with your friends. Bye now.